Hello and welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to be drawing and painting this gorgeous little pug dog. So I've already got my colour chart organised. So all you have to do the colours, if you want to pick the colours that are in the photo, you press the plus sign on your palettes and you go new from photos. Click new from photos, touch on your photo and it'll bring up the colours of the photograph. So you can have a ready-made palette of colours for the dog. So that's the palettes that it's picked for me, and as you can see it's just mirrored the same one that I picked before. So I just wanted to show you how to do that. So now I'm going to start by just going in with, I'm going to go to my recents, and I'm going to get just a simple round brush, and I'm going to use that for the outline of the dog. I'm just going to, over here on the left, I'm going to make it a thin line, an opaque line. So the bottom one's your opacity, because you can make your lines see-through or solid, and this one you can make the size bigger or smaller. So I'm going to start with quite a small pen, press the brush to get my pen up and draw the basic sort of outline of this little guy. He's very cute. I'm using a square canvas. I'm just going to draw, look at his shape of his body like that. Hang on, whoops. Look at the shape of his face. Around, I'm just getting roughly the shape. He's not quite round. There's a little bit of squarish edge. He's got his big chin under here, his big jowls. And his neck comes down there. They're very roly-poly little dogs. Very roly-poly. Okay, now his ear, just looking at it, I'm just sort of penciling the line. Now I can use the picture to get the proportions of his face. So I can see there I've got to come down there a bit more, measure his shapes. I use my fingers to measure the shapes, and I can see the angle on there is wrong. So I've got to go more, see how he goes that way. And from there to there, so I can bring that line down there. And his chin's on more of an angle like that, so that's better. Now, from the top of his head to his nose is about there, because their nose is quite high up on their face. So I'll draw that in, just the basic shape. Like that. And he's got, you can see a little bit of a line above his nose. And I can, as I go on, I do this, I treat digital exactly the same as I treat traditional. This is exactly how I would do a drawing. I just get all the perspective, all the measurements, sort of roughly where I want them. And then I draw in the basic shapes. Like that. Okay. So I'm quite happy with that. Now his eyes are, the edge, outside edge of his eye is I can measure it with my fingers. That eye is about, it's sort of halfway between the side of his head and his nose. So it's about the middle of this space between his ears. Same on the other side. So I've sort of pick about the middle there. Draw that eye in. They've got beautiful round eyes, these guys. So I'll adjust the shape. I'm just going to move it around a little bit. Now, if I want to move something, like if I don't like that eye, I can press this little pointy tool. No, not that pointy tool. Press the little squiggly tool. Oh, you can go freehand and you just draw a circle around and press the arrow and you can move that anywhere on the page. So I'll just pop that back to about there, I reckon, and then you just double tap on that again and it'll take it away. So that's what you do if you want to move anything around the page. I can do that with, and there's different things you can do. So if I want to do, I go freehand, but if I want to go rectangle, it'll put a rectangle around whatever I want to move. Hang on, I've got to get in the right spot. It'll put a rectangle around what I want to move. and then press the arrow, and you can move that anywhere you want. Make it bigger, smaller, move it around like that. Tap it to leave it. If I want to press, oh, no, not that one. Press that one. I always press the wrong one. Ellipse, it'll put a circle around it. So you just do that, and then press that pointy arrow, and then again, you can just move it anywhere around the page. So that's a really handy way of moving things around. Just got to adjust it a bit, make it back in the right spot. There we go. And then you just click on the pointy arrow again to make it, leave it alone. Okay, so now I'm going to draw the ear. So that's how, if I want to move things around, that's how I would do it. So I'm just looking at the shapes, drawing that ear there. He looks little thick little dog ears. He's very cute little guy. All right, and it's going to be fun. I wanted to draw this because I really wanted to draw all these little wrinkles and crinkles, because I love all their little wrinkles and crinkles. Okay, now he's got frowny lines, which is sort of decisive of the little puggy dogs. He's got, I can move things, shorten them, anything I need to do. With his little mouth in there. I'm not going to worry about his collar or anything. Okay, so I'm going to start with his fur. No, actually, I'm going to start with his eyes. I'm going to start with his eyes, and he's got a beautiful light tan eye. So I'm going to get my soft brush, and I'm going to make it opaque, quite small to begin with, and I'm just going to fill it, oh, a bit smaller than that. And I'm going to fill in his irises. Just mark that in. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I need to make another layer. So the drawing I'll have on one layer, and then I'll have another layer. So you just press the plus button, that'll bring another layer up, and then you're in that layer. And I'm just going to go back in and fill in his eye. I'll fill in both eyes, actually. So I'll do that, and I'll fill in that eye. I've got to add a little bit of white back in around. And then at the end of it, I can delete the underdrawing. So just do that, fill in that eyeball like that. Okay, happy with those. They look pretty cute. And now I'm going to make that a bit bigger, make my reference a little bit bigger. Whoops. Come on, get bigger. There we go. And I can see he's got a little bit of white around the outside edge. So I'm going to draw that little bit of white on. A little bit on there as well. Actually, no, that's just a reflection on that side. So now I'm going to draw his pupil in. I'll use this really dark colour. Let's draw his pupil in the middle. His eyes aren't quite centre. So draw his pupils in. Then I'm going to add a little bit of this lighter grey around the outside of his pupil. Their eyes aren't just one flat colour. They do have, whoops, you can see I've gone into that black a bit. Whoops, so there we go. And I'll go back to that lighter browny colour. Hang on, what was it? That lighter grey, there we go. And add that around the outside edge of the pupil like that. Then I'm going to add some more golden browns. So I'll go to this one. And I'm just going to add a little bit of this golden sort of texture in. It's a dark, it's a reddy brown. But you can see their eyes. When you look at the eyes, they're not just one flat colour. So I'll just add that in and around like that. And I can blend that a little bit, get that pointy finger, and I can just soften, blend out those little lines that I've just put in, and it literally just blends them out and stops them looking like a hard line. Then I'm going to go around the outside of his eye with this super darky colour. Whoops, maybe not that thick. Just got to go to delete that, double tap to delete. Go back, oh no, maybe I do need it a little bit bigger. Double tap to delete. Come around the iris, like that. Down the bottom of the eye like that. Okay. That is the outside of that eye. Now you can see he's got the inner eyelid comes down in there, and then there's a little tear duct. Okay, now go on to this other eye on the other side. I'm scribbling on shape, the outside shape of the outer part of the eye. Not exactly the same. Oops, I'm going to undo that last bit of line because I'm not 100% happy with that last bit of line. Okay. Now I can see reflections. So I'm going to get this white, and I'm going to draw these highlights anywhere that I can see them. Whoops. Just for now. Get those sort of drawn on. And draw the little, you can see the light reflects around. I'm going to do a stronger dark into the corner of the eye here. I'm just going to shut my door for a second. And drop my pencil on the floor because that's how I roll. Yeah, got it. Okay. Rightio. So now I'm going to draw his little nose in, and I'm going to go into this silvery grey for his nose. Now I've drawn his nose quite, why is it not? Oh, there we go. Quite sharp edge, like squared off, but now I'm going to round that off. It's not a grey colour, that's a very blue colour, so I'm going to go in with this grey. I'm going to undo that, undo it, just double tap to undo, like that. Then I'm going to come down and see, I can already see I've got to lift his nose up on his face a bit more because his eyes are only, his nose is sort of between his eyes a bit more. So there we go. So I'll lift that up a bit. So you can always adjust your drawing. You don't have to stick to the original plan. So I'm just going to draw in these shapes, these nostrils. Come back down and around like that. There we go. So that's roughly the shape of his nostrils. It's got a line up the middle there. He has quite strong crinkly wrinkles, which I'll just draw in now. He's got beautiful markings around his eyes too, I have to say. He's gorgeous markings around his eyes. Love the colours of these dogs. They're just beautiful. So I'm just going to mark in these browny greys around his eyes, and I'll show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to join these lines. See if I can drag and drop like that. And that lets me drag and drop. Whoops. And I must have missed a bit. Yep, I did. Once these lines are all connected, it'll let me drag and drop into the drawing to fill those colours around that space. And I'm going to do the same thing again around his, actually the nose is a lot more grey, but I'm going to go in with this colour first. So I'm going to just fill in this line, coming around his nostril, around there like that, connect all that up and drop that in. So you just drag and drop. Do the same shape on this side. Come down here. Now that line of his cheek comes down that side of his iris. So I've got that in, I have got that in about the right spot. And I'm going to check the same on this side. So the outside of his iris is the outside of his cheek. Yeah, that's about right. So now I'm going to drag and drop. That's all right. It's filled in his nose as well, but I don't mind because I would be doing that anyway. He's quite dark up here in his lips. So let's have a look. Let's shrink him down again, and I'm going to darken up his ears. So for his ears, I'm literally just going to take this whole line like that and drag and drop like that. And then this other ear, I'll do the same. I'll add the lights back in at the end. Just get the shape in and drag and drop. Okay, so that's his basic sort of darks in. Now I'm going to go the lights. Now he's this very pale beigey colour. I might even just go this colour for the start. It's very, very pale, but I'm just going to pop that in and I'm going to draw around the outside of everything that I can see that is that light colour. Come around his eye. This is just to block it in for the beginning. I can see that his little face, the grey bits come down there, come around there, around his ear, go around the eye. Then when I drag and drop, it should just fill in that area like that. So that gets my lightest lights in. I'm going to do that now, come down onto his little back like that. I'll actually do into there. I'll just do that little bit as well. Drag that in there. See, I've got to have a bit of a darker patch underneath. So I'll just do that. Come around that outside. He's got a little chubby wubby neck like that. And then drag and drop. And there he is. He's blocked in. We've got the basic colours blocked in nicely. So now's where I start to refine everything. So I'm just going to blend. Make my brush a little bit bigger and just blend around the outside edges just to soften those outside lines a little bit. Get rid of the hard lines. And I'll be going over this again anyway with different colours. I've just blocked it in. I'll fill all that in, just blend it all out and around. And I've got to draw the fur texture on as well. This is just the very, very first part, very initial beginning of the drawing. Just got the main base, the main parts blocked in. All right, so now I'm going to start to go in. I'll start working around the eyes. So just bear with me a second. I'm just going to go let my other little dog in. We've got Daisy Doo wants to come in now. She's crying at the door. Come on, Doo. Come on, Doo. Come on, Daisy Doo. Come on, in you come. Now I've got two Jack Russells. There's one third one, but she likes the house to herself. So she's down the other end of the house and she's minding it for me. Okay, so I'm going to go in now. I'm going to go in with this, just having a look at the reference. I'm going to work on one part at a time. If I look at the whole picture, it's too overwhelming. So I'm going to go in with this brown. I'm going to get a different brush. I'm going to go with a Willow charcoal brush. And I'm going to draw in. I'm going to start to mark in some of these browny colours. Like that. Take that out and around. Just looking at the shapes, colour shapes. Come around the edge of his eye. I can actually go up into the forehead a little bit. I think I need to move his eyes apart a little bit. Hello, hi, Nadonna. Got your mug today. Oh, awesome. How are you happy? Are you happy with it? That's awesome, Dale. God, yours arrived quick. I've been waiting a week for mine. That's because they delivered from the US. I'd love to. I definitely will check it out. Oh, that's exciting. Are you happy with it? That's what matters. Are you happy with it? Yeah, it's great. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Yeah, mine is supposed to be arriving today, I think. So I'm just going to fill in around his ears as well, around the top of his ears. I'm going to go in with the grey. I'm going to go in with, on his nose now, I'm going to go in with this lighter grey. I'm going to start just fill in, still using the charcoal pencil, with this light blue grey over the top. And you can see it just adds a lovely sort of furry texture. Like that. Do it over his little mouthy bit, like that. Yeah, I might have to, maybe his eyes are the wrong shape. I'm just looking at his eyes thinking, oh, maybe they're the wrong shape. And his mouth is a little bit off. Hope you're having a great day. I'm having a wonderful day, Dale. I'm a very happy camper. I'm a very happy camper. I'm just chilling, relaxing. Which colour was it? It was that colour. Just relaxing and doing what I love most, which is drawing. So my world is very happy. Yeah, see, I've got this shape of his eye wrong, so I'm going to go back in. I just literally do it exactly the same as if I'm doing a traditional drawing. Whoop, that's not the right one. That one, press that, and then come around. See, his eyes are lower. They're not as open as I've got them. They're more droopy at the edges. And it can be as simple as that to make like things look like a different breed. You know, if you get the wrong shape. See, he's lower there. And he's lower here. Okay, starting to come together. I'll draw, while I've got the black or the dark grey, I'll do in his nostrils. I'm actually going to draw a little bit of this line, this fur line. So it's a very charcoaly grey. It's not quite black, which is good. I'm just looking at the shapes, marking, coming down here. I thought I've done lots and lots of bird drawings the last few weeks, so I thought I will do one of my other favourite subjects, which is animals, dogs. Love drawing dogs. All right, come down and around. And I just love these guys because they've got all their crinkly crumples, all their little squills and their wrinkles. They've got such personality. I'm just having a look. His eye, you can see he's got quite, where did the light go? There was a white. Oh, there it is. There. Got to draw this little bit of white in the edge corner of his eye there. A little bit in there. Bit more of a highlight on this back side of his eye. A little bit of grey around the edge of his nostril. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So now I'm going to go, I'm just going to have a quick look. I'm going to use this really dark colour. I'm going to add a little bit more dark into the top of the iris of his eyes. His eyes are looking too much one colour. So I'm just going to add, because the eyes have got shadow on them, they're always darker at the top. Add a little bit more dark in there. Just put that highlight, little highlight back there. Okay, now go on to his nose. Go back to his nose. Now, I'm going to draw in, just fill in the dark of his nose. Actually, I can get rid of that underdrawing now. So the layer 1, I can just take away. So now you won't see any of the underdrawing. And I'm going to come in here and fill in. Now you can see the blue of the background anywhere I've missed. You can see the blue of the background. And I'm just going to go around. This is a charcoal pencil. Now I'm just going to fill in fairy bits around the edges of his eyes. Get his wrinkly bit up here. It's got a beautiful wrinkle there. And a line that comes down to this crinkle above his nose, his frown line. And I will go over the top of this because he's got some grey hairs on there as well. So we'll go over the top of that with some grey hairs. But I'm just marking it all in for the second. Just getting the colour shapes in. Then I'll add the detail. Come down and around this edge like that. Just in always remembering to follow the direction of the fur. Always follow the direction of the fur. Like that. Then come back around here. Now you can see I've made his face too thick. So I'm going to erase the edge of his face just there. I'm looking at that reference and I'm like, yeah, no, I've made him too foofy around the edge of his face and I've got to drop his ear down a bit lower. So get my brush back. That ear comes in to there. A bit more. Doesn't matter that I'm doing it with the dark. And that one goes around the outside a bit more, like that. Okay. Then he's got very dark centre line of his nostril, and then into his mouth. Again, still using the charcoal effect pencil, because I do a lot of, I think that's why I love this so much. It's because I love drawing above all else. This just gives me all of my drawing fix. And I don't have to blend like I do with pencils or mix paints. It does all the hard work for me, which I really, really love. I'm figuring out why I love digital so much, because it really does give me all of my favourite things, which is drawing and bright colours, vibrant colours, without any stress or mess. Okay, and very little pack up time and set up time. Takes me about a minute. All you got to do is make sure your batteries are charged. But I'm going to be going to the zoo and I'm going to take my iPad with me and do some life drawing, because I love drawing animals in real life. I'm just going to darken in this corner of his ear. I'm starting to build up now, but actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to block it. I'm going to go around the outside edge like that, and I'm going to drag and drop to get that dark into there. There we go. Ideal. And then I'm going to do the same. I've almost got that one done on the outside there, but I'm just going to drag and drop it anyway to fill it right in. Whoops, days, come on, go in there. Oh, I didn't want to. I'm going to zoom in a bit so I can see the bits that see how it's really messy looking? I'm just going to fill in all of that, like that. Come down to the edge of the ear. Okay, looking all right. I'm going to go in and darken up his nostrils, or his nose, his whole nose actually. And I know it's much greyer, much more silvery grey than I've got this, but I will go over the top of it with detail highlights and things. You can still see the blue lines of bits that I've missed. So now I'm going to go to maybe this grey. That's too light, too light. I'm going to go that one, maybe a blue grey, that blue grey. That's a bit better. I'm just going to add little highlighty dots. So I'm literally just tapping my pen on the paper using the tip of my pen. Come around the outside of the nostril here. That. I'm going to zoom out and have another little bit of a look. Okay, just roughly for the beginning, that's okay. Now I'm going to add some darker greys around. Actually, I've got to come in under his chinny bit, under his chinny chin chin, and under here, under his chinny chin chin, with this darker grey, blue grey. He's got so much grey. He's just gorgeous. He's the cutest little muffin. He's got blue grey up here. And just remember, guys, this is just the under drawing like this. I'll build up exactly the same as if you're doing traditional. You just build up in layers. Just because it's digital doesn't make it a shortcut. You still have to follow all the same techniques. I just like the convenience of it. And having an undo button's always nice. So now I'm just adding, and I'm just remembering to follow in the direction of the fur. Always remembering the direction of the fur. So that charcoal pencil gives the effect, like the soft effect of fur, which is ideal. Come around the very top of that ear, again following the direction of the fur. Now I'm going to draw a little bit of fur up here. He's got his little eyebrow. He's got a little conky eyebrow there and a little conky eyebrow there. Again, following the direction of the fur. He's got little whiskey bits coming in there, little whiskery bits coming in there. And then I'm going to come down around the outside of his whiskers on his little face, like that. And then I'm going to see that I've got to take this grey. I've got to soften the edges of this grey. I can still see I haven't quite got that eye on the right angle. It's a little bit off, but that's okay. I will adjust that. So just go in with this light blue grey now and just continue on. Grey comes down in front of his ear, like that, and like that. Now he's got little rumply ruffles come down here. I'm just going to mark these in, just squiggling lines, just to get the rough directions. Suggest the fur. Come down here. Okay. I'm going to bring this grey line down here. He's got like a little line down there. Bit more grey coming up here. Again, following the direction of the fur. Wrinkles there. Now he's got more of a darker tan coming along the top here. So I'm going to start to now, again, following the direction of the fur, marking in these slightly darker areas. Slightly stronger fur colour, more of a goldy colour. I'm also going to go along this top line of his head because you can see he's got just a little bit of a darker shadow along the top line of his head. And on the very top of his ear, there. And that, oh, I pressed the thing. This glove is supposed to help me, stop me from doing that, but it's only a cheap glove, so it might not be made of the right stuff. But anyway, that's what you get. I tried it. I bought my glove online. Now I'm just going to take this fur, just looking at the outside of his face. He's got this golden brown coming down here. And I'm also going to add this goldy brown colour into this brown that I've got, a grey brown that I've got around his nostril, around his nose. And then I'm going to take it around the outside of his eye. And you can see once you start to add more colours, it really starts to become three-dimensional, which is what you want. And I'm just looking at the shapes and the areas. There we go. He's darker around the neck here. So I'll just add fur texturing coming down and around. Like that. And that pretty much comes down to the centre front of his little body. Like that. It's much darker there. You can see he's sort of shaded down here. So I'm just going to come around the outside, create more furry texture around the outside. You don't want hard flat lines because he's furry. So, but he's slightly darker tone around the outside there. He's got a little bit darker there and a little bit darker coming down here. Okay, now I'm just going to blend. See this line at the back edge? I'm just going to blend that. Scruffle that around the outside like that, and that just softens that outside line. So I'm slowly getting rid of all of the background colour from the inside of the drawing and getting all these proportions in around about the right spot. Now I've got to go back in here, whoops-a-days, with the darker colour. I'm going to get that darker grey and pop that in under his chin around here. As you can see, he's got his whiskery bits come down there. Here's where I start to build up and connect everything together. Now he's softer here. I've got to soften these lines and I've got to lift that up a fraction. Like that. Again, following the direction of the fur. I'm going to go back in with light blue grey. I'm going to make my, actually I'm going to get a different brush. I'm going to go into my, I'm going to get my Twiggy brush. I like my Twiggy brush. I use this brush a lot for fur and feathers and all kinds of stuff. It's a really good brush and it's in the general brushes that you get with your iPad, with your Procreate app. But it's just got a little bit of a a texture to it that makes things look a bit more fur-like and a bit more natural. I'm going to come around the outside, the top of his ear, like that. And you can see that gives that little broken line. Or I'm going to come around the outside of this ear as well. He does have little fairy bits. I need to make that a little bit smaller maybe. There we go. Okay. Now, I'm going to add some dark back into his nose, but I'm going to stay with this pencil that I've got, which is like a Twiggy pencil. And I'm just going to add this darker tone because he's much darker in there. There is grey coming through, but he's still a lot darker around his nose. So I'm just going to come around, following the direction of his fur. He's much darker down here. Whoops, it is. Might make my brush a bit bigger. Much darker down on this side. Actually, I'll make it smaller. And continue around. Fill him all in. It's exactly the same as if you were doing a charcoal drawing or a pencil drawing or even a painting. You build up your layers. You build up all your layers. I'm actually going to move that across a fraction because my doggy is sort of behind the chat. How do I move the chat box? I'm going to try and move my chat box to the other side, I think. Chat box. Where's my chat box? I can find it. Chat box, there it is. I'm going to see if I can move it. Oh, no, it's not going to let me move it. Let's not worry about it. Chat box. Hang on. Hold that thought, people. I'm just looking for my chat box again. Chat box. Oops. Nope. Chat box. There it is. Oops. Nope. Let me move it now? No, I'm just going to have to leave my chat box there. It's not going to let me move it. I wanted to move it so it wasn't in front of the dog, but that's okay. So I'll just continue on around. Just fill in all of these grey areas. Soften up these edges because he's no hard lines. He's all soft lines. Put a bit more grey through his beardy bit, his little beardy bit. And they go into sort of the centre of his little mouth. Like that. I keep jumping around. I've got to stay on here. Stay on his little face, hey? All right, actually, I'm going to try and move this chat box. I know I can do it. I know I can do it, people. My chat box. Oops. Chat box. Oops. It's definitely not going to let me move it. Okay, doesn't matter. Oops. I can just block it for now, so it's not in the way. I can see it on my screen, next to my screen, but I'm just going to make it so it's invisible on, oops, no, that's not the one, chat box. There we go. I'll just take it away so that way it's not in your way. I can still see chat, but it's not as obvious to everyone else. So then I come down and around. So I don't want to hinder the view of my painting. So now come up and around, just continuing, just looking for the darker areas on the fur. And come down, I've got to finish off his muzzle. Finish off his little hairy muzzle. Like that. And again, this is like the second or third layer, so it's not the end by any means. I'm just starting to build up the shapes and the colours and getting everything where I want it. Now I'm going to go back in with a little bit more of the lighter colour. He's much lighter around front. He's got much more grey hairs around here. Now I pick out the lighter ones out of the darker ones. I usually work light to dark, but for this particular subject, I think the dark to light is more effective for me. Because there's more dark on him than light. And I'm just looking for the shapes. I'm actually going to change his nose now. I'm going to go back to my soft brush, soft airbrush, make it little. If it's going to go into his nose, oops, maybe not that little. I've got to make it opaque. I'm going to go back into the dark. I'm not happy with his nose. I'm just going to darken out his nose. Darken out that nostril. And go in with, what sort of colour grey is that? So if I hold my brush, my pen to the paper, you can see it brings up the colour, and it's pretty much that one I reckon. It's deceiving to look at it from a distance. So yeah, if you just hold your pen on the colour, it'll bring up the colour under the brush. If I can do it. It's not going to let me do it now. I don't know what I did. Usually if you hold your pen on it, it'll bring up the colour underneath the pen. So you can pick which one it is. That's a bit better. It's a bit of a lighter blue. Hello, Atari. Aloha. On for a short bit, but it's coming out beautifully. Thank you. Nice to catch you on a live. Glad you're here, Dove. Thank you for being here. I do too. It's my new passion. Procreate is my new passion. I love it. Love it, love it. Absolutely love it. It is good fun. Now I'm going to go onto the darker part. I feel I can get much more gutsy colours. I can have the effect of a really intricate drawing without the stress of having the right tools because it's got everything all in it for me, which I absolutely adore. There's no clean-up time. There's no setup time. And I have my iPad pretty much wherever I go these days. I use it for everything. So I'm just looking again for the darker shades. Me too. Yes, same. Same. Okay, now I'm not happy with his nose. I'm going to stay with this soft airbrush. And I'm just going to fill in a bit more. I'll put some more fur over the top. Make it less opaque so it's a bit more see-through. So you'll still see the underlying marks. But I'm just going to take down. I'm going to blend that. So I did his fur sort of go in the wrong direction. So soften that out and darken up. That's what I'm going to do. That works. And I'll do that on this side as well because I can see he's darker through here. Take that down and just start to build up the layers. No cost of paint supplies. I know it can be so expensive. It can be expensive. And I go through a lot because I draw every day. Draw and paint every day. So this is just so much easier. As you can see, I'm just blending out all those fur lines. Just a little. You still see some of them, but that's starting to look a bit better. I just needed it to be a little bit softer. Little bit softer. And then I'll go back in with my furry brush, which is my twiggy brush. And I'm going to add some darks. Oops. Around, not everywhere, just get that bit of fur texture back. Just around the top of his little schnoz. Down here. I can see I'm going to have to fiddle quite a bit around his nose to get the fur texture that I want. I'm going to add a bit more fur texture around the outside of his little face here. I haven't drawn a dog in a little while, so I thought I just love pugs. They're just adorable. So I thought I'll draw a little pug. My sister-in-law's got them and I told her I'd draw her little pug. There we go. So having a quick look. All right. And I apologise if there's a little bit of strobing on camera. I'm doing it differently today. I've got my, rather than doing it on like screen projecting it, I've got it so that you can see my hands and what I'm doing rather than just have the cursor on the screen. I thought I would try that today. So I'd love feedback. Oops, that's not the right colour tan. I want that lighter tan. So I'd love feedback on what you think of this way of being able to visualise it and see it. I'm just going to go back to my soft airbrush. So around here. It's a bit more of a yellowy colour, isn't it? Maybe I need to go, maybe that, or maybe that pinky sort of, well, that is the background colour, but I'm actually going to go around the edge of this fur here. Amazing. Oh, thank you. Yeah, because I like to be able to see the hands and stuff of when people are drawing. And I was doing it like a screen project from the iPad to the screen, but you can't see the pen. You can't see my hands. And you can't see what I'm touching on the screen. I think this way is great. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. So it's not too stroby, like it's not too disturbing because I know there's a little bit of a shimmer on the screen. I'm actually going to pinch his colour from down here off another palette, which is more of a golden colour, which I actually think works better. So even though I've done the pick from the photo, the colour pick from the photo, you still sometimes might need to add your own little flair to the colours. And I think this just needs a little bit more of a golden yellowy colour in a few areas. And I'm using the soft airbrush. All right, now having a look down here. Yeah, I removed my chat box because it was in the way. Now the shape of his face, I can see I've got his eye too high. I have got his eye too high, I think. Might be all right. Maybe I'm just seeing things. I'm just going to darken up just around this lower edge of this fur. And I'm using the square. Now I'm just having a quick look. I did measure his face. So I've got his eyes are about the right distance apart. Height, top to his chin. Oh. Yeah, I think this eye needs to be dropped a little bit more. I'm going to grab my black. I'm going to erase. This is where it starts to get a little bit scary. I'm going to erase just the shape of his eye and drop them down a fraction. So I'm just going to go back in there with the black and draw the top of his eye back in. I can always I'm going to erase that one again. I need to have it a little bit up, just a little bit rounder. I was constantly looking at the shapes of things, constantly looking at shapes. Now I'm going to just fill in around the top and have another little look. I've got to make his pupil bigger. I've got to drop his pupil now. I'm going to brown out his eyes again. I'm just going to brown them out. Turn him into a haunted looking dog. It's the beauty of it. You can go over it and re-over it and I'm going to change that. It's got to be a more downhill angle. Having a look. Go around the outside edge of his iris on both eyes. like that. Okay. I think I've got to drop the bottom of the eye down. So I'm going to erase the bottom of the eye just a little bit. Drop that eye down a fraction. Like that. I think that looks a bit better. That looks a bit better. Now I'm going to put that brown back into his iris. And then I'll put his pupil back. Fill all that in. I'll put his pupil back. Now his pupils, if I look, are towards the top of his eye, but they're more there, like that. That one is a bit higher, but that's okay because he's sort of on a tilt. Okay, so that's like that. Your sister will absolutely love it. Thank you. I hope so. I hope so. And I'll come around here. Whoops, nope, that's not the right colour. Now I had a reddy brown. Where did I get that from? Oh, that one. I'll use that reddy brown. It's almost a burgundy. I'm going to pop that in around the edges. But you see, he has got beautiful golden red brown around his iris. It's absolutely beautiful. And like you can really get super, super duper, duper, duper sucked into detail with digital, because I find I spend a lot more time on detail doing it digitally. Whoops, go back to my palette at the top. And I've got to go back into this greyish brown, just around the outside edge of his iris, of his pupil, I mean. Then I'll add the highlights back in. Oops. Actually, I'm going to go back to the black. Back to the black. Just blacken out that eye a bit more. Now I'm going to go for the highlights. Go back to my white. Tap on my white. I've still got my airbrush, soft airbrush. Leave it semi-opaque for now. I'm just going to mark in the shapes of those reflections. Like that. Then I'm looking at this eye. He's got like a triangle. It comes right across his pupil, like that. Around this outside edge, like that. A little bit of a dot there. All right, now I'm going to also come around the edge of his nostril. Little squiggles, like that. Actually, having that zoomed in, I can see a lot more. And I'm actually also, before I do anything else, I'm going to just blend those little highlights. I'm just going to touch them with the blendy brush because they're not hard. They're soft reflections. And I'm just going to tap them, and that will just diffuse those shadows, those highlights a little bit. And I'm going to add bit more of a golden colour. Let's go down my page a little bit. Let's have a look at my golden colours. I like this. Actually, this orangey one. I'm going to go into this orangey one. I'm going to make it more opaque, so not see-through. And I'm going to add a few of these little orangey highlights around the bottom edge of his eye, because you can see he does have just bright around the edge of both of his eyes. So I'm constantly looking for different colours, and you can go really crazy colours, like you can have fun with colours. It doesn't have to be sort of realistic colours. Now I'm going to draw little dots all over his nose to fill in, because I don't want to make it a solid dark nose. So I've done the light grey as the undercolour, and now I'm just going to do the dark, almost black dots for the little pores, little skin texture on his nose, and I'm literally just doing dots, just lots of dots. Pointillism, lots of dots. And the brushes today that I'm using are just standard Procreate brushes. Okay. I can blend the top a little bit just to smooth them out, make my blending brush a little bit. So you press that pointy finger, make my brush a little bit smaller, and just blend the top a little bit so that the dots are less harsh. Come around the edge of his nostril there, around here, And I've got to actually make that line. I've got to flatten off the line on the top of his nose. And I'm going to add some grey into just above here. Just using my pen, just using the brush, just in little tiny flecks. Just around the top of his nose there. This is where I start to pick out. Whoops, undo. See there, I press my brush off. Actually I'll go to the darker grey. Let's have a look. Are we back at the top? Go back to the top. Go to this sort of a grey. And I'm going to draw in fur now. Darker fur texture. Well, not darker, it's middle tone. Middle tone fur texture. You start to get rid of all the lights, like all the flat areas. You want texture. You want the whole thing to have texture. Because dogs aren't smooth. They're not smooth. Just ask my dogs. I've got a wire-haired Jack Russell and a long-haired Jack Russell. They are not smooth. Come down here, just add the fur texture. I'm having a quick look. I see I've got a lot more grey. I'm going to go back to my light now, using my soft brush, my soft airbrush. I'm just going to draw little lights around about. I'm actually going to blend here. See, I've missed the blue here. I'm just going to blend that grey down into that blue just down here. You still see a little bit of the underlying background. Actually, no, what have I done there? I'm going to blend that. Oh, I'm erasing. That's what's happened. Undo. I don't want to erase. I want to press that button. I'm like, why is it not doing it? But there we go. I'll just blend that around his nostril. And then I'm going to go back in with that strongery grey and just pop that blue grey around the bottom of his nostril. Come into there. Sort of getting rid of any of these bluer areas that I've got still from the background you can see shining through, and start to build up. Actually, I better go a darker one than that. And these are actually like a purpley blue, a purpley grey. They're a dark purpley grey. Is beautiful. It's amazing, you don't have to use black. You can use purples. Purples do black really well. If you're mixing the colour, I use burnt umber and cobalt blue to make a black. It gives you a juicy black. It's not just a flat black. And I can actually see now that he's got a little bit of light there. Now I'm starting to pick out highlights and things. Whoops. That one. A little bit of light there. He's got grey flecks or browny tan flecks around his eyes, like that. And around this eye. It's not just flat and dark. And underneath also. Okay, having a look. He's got flecks coming down here. Now I'm going to add fur texture all over him. So I'm going to go down. I'm actually going to have a look at some of these other tanny colours that I've got. I reckon I like that one. So I'm going to get that. I'm going to bring it up here. I'm going to make another palette, create a new palette, and just tap that. Oh. And I'm going to go back down there and pick it up. So I've got it on my thingy. Which one was it? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? What colour did it? That one. I want to use that, then take it up to the top and just tap it there. And that puts it on that palette for me. And then I'm going to come around and now I'm going to draw in fur texture everywhere. All in the light areas that are just flat. And I was going to use the brush that I had before, the twig brush. Oh, you know what? I'm just going to do it traditionally. I'm just going to draw every fur line like I would as if I was doing a traditional piece of paper drawing. Because I tend to stick to traditional. I've got to get motivated. There's an art show in a few weeks that I want to enter. My friend rang me the other day and told me there's an art show, and I haven't done an art show in years. So I'm excited to enter a few pieces. And it'll be the first time I've entered digital work. So we'll see how that goes. But that's why I still want to have a painterly technique. I want it to look like a painting. So now I'm just adding the fur in exactly the same as if I was doing a traditional drawing. Just drawing the lines in individually, just remembering to do the direction of the fur. Coming around the edge of his little mouth. Around the side of his face. And again, I've got to soften these lines I've just saw around the edge. It's not real soft. I've just got to make it a little bit furry around the edge, like that. Okay, he's coming together, peeps. He's coming together. All right, having a quick look. I can add some fur up here. I've got to do the fur in his ear as well. He's got a little bit of fur in his ear, a little bit of fur in this ear. Fur down underneath on the bottom, like that. Fur down here, just a little fur in there. I'm just going to draw fur texture all the way down. I can make it less opaque, which means it's more see-through, so you don't see it as clearly, like as obviously. I'm just going to draw all these little lines around to give his fur texture. I'm going to blend that grey out. I've got to put a big blob of grey down there that needs to be blended out a little bit, so I'll just blend that out. Okay. There we go. Just softened that. Now I'm going to go back to my brush, go back to drawing in the fur. Continue on and around. I'll go over that grey area, that bluey grey, because you see the fur lines in there. And there's nothing I like more than looking at an artwork and seeing all the pen strokes and all the, I love to, I'll stand for hours and look at an artwork to figure out how it's been drawn. I'll look at every stroke, every brush mark. I'm really a pain to go to the museum with because I just stand there and stare at the same picture trying to figure out how they've done everything. But it's my absolute favourite thing to do on earth. There we go. And I continue down here. So yeah, so all my pictures have got lots of pen marks and lots of pen strokes. I remember they had the Queen's exhibition of all the Queen's, her collection, when Queen Elizabeth was alive, and it was all the portraits from the different castles, and oh my word, I just went, and the oil paintings look like photographs. The detail in the jewellery, the skin texture, everything was just insanely beautiful, and I don't think, I just stood there with my mouth open staring at everything, wondering how the hell they did it. Like their jewellery, like the gold, the sparkle on the diamonds, everything, their tiaras were just incredible. I could have spent a month just standing around looking at those pictures. I love seeing the brush strokes. And I literally was looking at them. How did they do that? Trying to break it down. But I haven't got the patience for oil painting. But I try to incorporate texture into all of mine. Because I want people to look at it and go, oh, there's the lines. Look how they did that. Okay. So you're starting to look a lot more alive now, which is great. It's always good to have an alive looking dog. Speaking of which, where are my dogs? Oh, my dogs are both asleep on the floor under my feet, which is very cute. Well, I've got 3 dogs. I've got 3 Jack Russells. One's my daughter's and my son-in-law's, but I'm babysitting at the moment, puppy sitting. And they're in a little pile. Bear and Daisy are in a pile under my feet. Okay, continue on with this fur. Again, following the direction. It's always remembering the direction. I'm going to soften this background too. It's far too hard and solid blue. So I am going to soften that a bit as well. Just using a soft airbrush technique as well. Okay, continue down. Just fill in all of that fur. Yeah, this is exactly how I would do a traditional portrait. I would just do this on a piece of paper instead. But so much easier and fun I can get just much gutsier colours on an iPad. And I can just email it. When the piece is done, it's instant. It's emailed straight to the client. There is no wait time. There's nothing. It is so good. So now I'm going to add another layer and I'm going to soften this background. I'm going to go to this light blue and I'm going to make my airbrush really big and really opaque. No, maybe a little bit less opaque. And I'm going to, whoops. Like that. And I'm just going to soften up the light around the back. Just so it's not quite so harsh. Like that. Just soften that up. Just a little. And I might add a bit of a light blue in there. I'll go to a sky blue. Just add a little bit of that in. Around that outside edge. Like that. There we go. Just enough to soften that. Might take a little bit. I'm just going to blend, make the blendy brush bigger. Just soften those edges a bit. Bring it down around closer to the doggo. Like that. And this is how I create, like when I'm doing birds and stuff, I'll create a tree effect, leaves modelled in the background just by adding greens. That would be a cool sticker and t-shirt. Well, see, there's all those options. I can do that. I can do stickers. I might just do that. Thank you for the suggestion, Atari. Thank you for the suggestion. And I can see I've just gone off over here a bit. I just need to add a little bit. I had the side of the doggy off the page. Put these blues up the top. Just to blend that out. And then I'm going to blend again. And that just softens that background from being so hard. And then I can just drag. I'm not real happy with, because it's on another layer, I can move that. So I'm actually going to go back in with, let's have a look, what other grey, that bluey grey. I can move the background a little bit. See how I've got it over the dog? Don't panic, because I'll show you what I'm going to do. I'm just going around the edge of the dog and just softening that dark around the edge. Then I just get that layer and I drag it down and put it behind the dog. And that takes all of that anything that was over the dog, takes it behind so you don't see it anymore. So now I'm going to start working on just a little bit more fur texture and final sort of details. I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to add a bit of blue into his eye. It's not actually, you can't see it there, but I think, you know, it just needs a lift. So I'm going to go to that blue there, which is a very purpley blue. Take it up to my new palette up here and stick it there. So then I've got it next to where I need it. And I'm just going to add, you won't really even see it until it's printed. You'll see all these colours come out really vividly when you print. Whoops. I've got to go back to that layer. Oops, a daisy. Oh, no. Gosh, golly gosh. I've got the wrong size brush. That was silly Billy. Now you can see it. I'm going to add this purple, dark blue purple, around the bottom of his nose. Top of his nose. Looking at his eyes. I've done it into his pupils. I'm going to come around the edge of his irises, just around like that. Let's have a look at this eye. I can see that line comes up all the way through there. Got more of a shadow there. I'm just picking out little fine details now. Okay. I would buy some stickers. I love your animal drawings. Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, I will do some then, doll. I'll do some then. I'm going to take this purpley blue also up onto his darker fur. I will definitely make you some. I'll pop them up in my Etsy. this afternoon. I'm going to add this purpley blue. This shows you don't need to use solid darks for your shadow colours. That's quite a dark purple, and I'm just going to, blend that out. I've got to remember to adjust my brush. So I'm just going to blend that. Bear, you grumpy bum. My little dog having a chat. The neighbours have got horses coming in, and you can hear them stomping in their trucks. Bear. The shush. All right. Now I'm going to go back to my dark, which is a really super duper. Oh, actually, no, I'm on the right one. And I'm going to just fill in under here, around this edge of the ear, and add fur texture. I'm not going to do it solid. I'm just going to do fur texture over the top. And then that will soften. Those colours, so you'll still see the purple through, the blue through. I've always struggled with purples and blues. I'm not colourblind, but I struggle with purples and stuff. My daughter and I are always discussing what I see as purple or blue. That's why when I do landscapes, they're always very vivid, because I see blues wrong. Here's a fun fact. So it's sort of like a colourblind thing, but it's not quite colourblind. I just see them differently. Okay, now I'm going to go pop a little bit of fur texture back here. Just having a quick look. Got to add fur texture back around. Zoom in. I can see he's got a little highlight sort of around this edge and just down here. And I love that I can zoom into my reference. I don't work with it constantly zoomed in because I don't want to get stuck in a little spot. Now I've got to add a super light just here. Start to add highlights in. It's got lots of light around here. Actually, I need a brighter white than that. Let's have a look down on here. That looks like a bright white, so I tap on it, take it up to the top, and then drop it in there. And that will become my highlight. As I can see, it's a very bluey grey light, but that's all right. That still works as a highlight. Take that down here. Because the trick to making things look right is to have all your lights and darks. And again, I'm just doing it in squiggles, like fur texture. Come around that outside edge. Having a look. Comes down here. It is very blue, but that's good, that's fine. Add a bit of that around here. Around here. Fur texture. Oops, shrink him down. Okay, he's looking all right, looking all right. Now I've got to add some more greys, some blue greys. Actually, more of a brown, maybe a brown. Let's go a light brown. A browny grey around here. That's a bit better. Around there. He's got a little bit, I'm going to make this more opaque, a little bit bigger. As you can see, he's got like a shadowy bit just around his jowlies, his little jowlies, like that. He's got a bit of a shadow area coming around here. I'm just looking for shadow shapes now, shadow shapes. Anywhere that I can see them. Down the bottom right hand side. I made him a bit bigger than the reference. So I sort of drew his body in a bit more. So I'm going to have to ad lib down here. Create like a little, that would be the sort of the side of his leg. Draw his other little leg here. They've got little broad chests. So I'm just imagining that to try and get that right. I'm going to add some highlights. Now, where did my white go? I popped it. That's a blue white. I want a bright white. I want a bright white. And I'm not quite sure if I go onto my disc, how do I make a bright white? Colours, no. Classics. Go up here. How do I? Ooh. Oh, that's the, oh, I haven't used this one before, but we're seeing. Actually, let's just undo because I don't know. Let's just not do that. Let's go back to disc. Go here. Take it up to the, see, I'm still fiddling, and maybe I'll take it into a yellow. There isn't a bright white. There's got to be a bright white here somewhere. That's not bad. Let's go back up to my palettes, up to the top. Try luminance brush. Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Thank you. I've got light leak. So if I go to my, so on my brushes, luminance, which is one of the ones that comes with it. Thank you. You're awesome. And go light pen. Oh, thank you. That's awesome. That's awesome. This is why I love chat. Thank you, Atari. I'm just going to add the highlights. Okie doke. Come around the side of the ear like that. You can see I'm just picking out lights. Again, follow around. Got to be a bit careful here. He's got light around this side. Can't do it all over. I've got to have him sort of more light where if I've got to imagine where the light's hitting him. So I think the light's coming from his left. The only problem with some photographs, people edit out the highlights and the natural shadows and stuff. They try to make it perfect. And I love a photo that's got rough bits and really strong lights and darks. It's going to blend that a fraction just there. There was a big blob of dark that I didn't want. A little bit around here. A little bit around the top of his eye. I can see I've got to add a few more not so bright lights around his face. Again, still following the direction of the fur. Having a quick look around here. And it doesn't have to be, stop, don't put pressure on yourself. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. Like, you're never going to see the reference next to the photograph unless, yeah, you do, unless you want to. But in real life, once you've done the drawing, you're not going to see the reference next to it. So you don't have to be super duper fussy. Actually, I'm going to make that smaller. Go to a fine line now. I'm going to add a little bit more line than that. I can add some little flecks. Why is that not doing it? It's too small. There we go. Add a few of his whiskers. Still got that luminance brush. Thank you, Atari. Add the little highlight whiskers around, just looking at the directions. You can see I'm not really zooming out now. I'm not zooming in, I'm staying out and just looking at where the colour shapes are. He's got more white coming down under his nostril. He's got more of a highlight coming around here, around the outside of that nostril, around the bottom edge of that nostril. That might be a beautiful way to do the highlight on his eye as well. Let's try that. That looks gorgeous. Okay, happy with that. Again, brighten up, not the whole highlight, just sections of the highlight. Like that. That really makes them pop. You're an absolute legend, Atari. An absolute legend. Do you have a YouTube channel or a Twitch stream or anything, Dale? Because I would love to do a shout out. if you do, because I'm streaming on Twitch and YouTube at the second. So if Artari does, if anyone's in chat, please follow Artari, and anyone who's watching this video in the future, please follow Artari because they're very helpful and have helped me in this video, which is wonderful. This is why I love the art community. It's because everyone helps everyone, and I just love it. Love, 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 love it. Okay, now I'm having a quick look. I'm thinking I need a little bit more light. Little bit texture in the ears. Yes, I have my Procreate drawings. Oh, okay. I don't know how to do a shout out. Can I do it on YouTube? How do I do it on YouTube? I can do it in Twitch. Hang on. I'll go. Shout. I can do it on Twitch. Shout out. Shout out. Artari. Okay. Had the same problem with whites. Well, that's so helpful that you've solved that problem for me. I know that'll be what I'll be doing from now on. So it's brilliant. Actually, I'll try and do it in here. Is it going to let me? Try and do it in here. I don't know whether it'll let me though. Shout out. Atari. Nope, that didn't work. Oh, you did? Oh. There we go. Mahalo. I'm just here to support you. Well, I appreciate it, Dale. I know you are, and I appreciate it. And thank you so much. But, you know, it's nice to support my buddies. So I'm just going to go, I'm going to go back now to the soft brush. So that'll be saved in my favourites, automatically does. So I've got to go back to my recents, leave light pen there. And I'm going to add just some little, oops, today's a bit big. Go a little bit less opaque, a little bit smaller, because I can see a little bit more than that. Just finding that happy medium. I can see he's got darker coming down here, but in fur texture, like that. Now it's just literally looking for the final bits. I'm going to add the fur texture over his nosy bit and up a bit more into his browy bit. See, he's got darker fur up around his eye, but in texture. It's the texture that makes the difference. It really does help. Again, little bit of darker around the outside of his face, around down here. He's just about, I reckon, oh, he's got some ripples here, some dark coloured ripples. What time is it where you live? It is now 12:38, so it's lunchtime. Lunchtime on, what day is it? I don't even know what day it is. Tuesday. Lunchtime on Tuesday? I had to think of what day it was then. I worked with my kids all day yesterday, which was good fun. I love working with my eldest kids, my son-in-law and my daughter. So I helped them with their business. So that was yesterday. I'm just having a quick look. I think we're pretty much, I'm now fiddling. Now, when you start to fiddle is when you're done. When you're fiddling and thinking, oh, what else can I do? What do I need to do? You don't actually probably need to do anything. So I'm going to call it, I think. So I'm going to sign this. What do you reckon? I reckon I'm done. I'm going to, how long did that take me? An hour and a half. So a piece like this, that takes me around about an hour and a half. So I'm quite happy with that. Still on Monday? I know I'm a day ahead. I'll have to send you the Tats Lotto tickets because I'm in the future. Australians are in the future. I quite often get asked to send, can you send me the Tats Lotto numbers? Because, we're a day ahead. It's quite funny. I'm going to use a little bit of this other brown, actually. Come down and around here. Yes, I'm still fiddling. Naughty me. I need to add a little bit of a lighter brown. Actually, I'll go to that one. No, that's not lighter. That one. That golden one. Oh, I want it to be opaque. Because if you take the opacity down, it does soften the colour as well. Thank you. This is inspiring. Well, thank you, Dale. Thank you. You guys inspire me as well. So it's, we all help each other, which is awesome. But it is good fun. It just shows you that there's so much you can do. So much you can do with digital. Like I feel like it's just opened up a whole world. I've drawn and painted all my life. So I don't ever remember a time, like my first memories are of drawing horses when I don't even remember how old I was. And I've always struggled with colours, and I always wanted the vibrancy, but I've never had the patience for oil. I love an oil painting, love to look at them. My best friend is an oil painter, and she's so clever, and she does photorealistic stuff. But I just never had the patience. And this digital has given me that I can do it. I can create pieces that I've always wanted to create over 50 years. So I feel so grateful to have found digital. Like even later in life, I'm so glad I found it. It's made my day. I have to keep an eye on your live streams. Oh, thank you, Dale. Thank you. You've always wanted to go to Australia? Well, come on down. Come on down. It is a lovely country. Love my country. If you ever come to Australia, you'll have to contact me. I'm just going to go back to my light pen. I'm just going to add a little bit of a highlight up here. Oops. Go back to that light. Go back to light pen. Done. And then add that little bit of fur highlight up the very top. Okay, I reckon I'm going to call that now. Quality from Procreate is wonderful. I know, and when I print them off, I just print them onto photograph paper. I use high gloss photo paper. And I set it to the highest quality settings. I've only got a 4 ink printer. It's just a standard printer, a Canon printer. I'm just having a look at it now, a Canon MX926, and it's a 4-color printer. And it mixes, and they come out beautiful quality. I mean, if you wanted to, you could take these to a gallery and they could print them for you onto whatever paper you want. But I just print these out and hang them on my wall. So I've been loving it. And they come out exactly like the reference. Or exactly like the piece. So this piece I will have up on I'll put it on my Insta and I've got to change all my links everywhere. I've got links on Twitch that I've got to change because I've updated and changed. I've dropped Twitch, TikTok, and I've changed a few of my channels. You're selling any of your artwork? I am. I do have them for sale. My download printables. I started this on what's it called? Oh my God. What's it called? I did it 2 weeks ago. Etsy. I started an Etsy shop. So yes, 2 weeks ago. Up until then I'd sold sort of privately in art shows and stuff, but I hadn't, and commissions. I hadn't really sold anything like this. But yeah, I started up an Etsy store because I can do printables. It's another beautiful thing with having Procreate, as I can do prints. So, yes, so I'm selling on my Etsy page, which is linked above in my links in my About section on YouTube and also in my About section on Twitch. I sell them for very affordable prices, like they're $10 a print. So, and $10 Australian, so it converts to American or US or whatever, or euro or pound, like your dollar's half my dollar. So, yes, so I will pop this up as well. And I can also do stickers, so I'm going to look into that, Atari. But yeah, so everything that's on my Etsy is linked above is for sale. Oh, thank you. Excuse me. Awesome. So I'm going to sign this now, and I am going to go to my simple round, and I'm going to make it really small. I'm going to sign it down. Oh, that's too small. Undo. Double tap. Oh my God, what am I doing? I'm signing my other signature. There we go. 2025. And there we go. So that is that. Be a great postcard and cards. Yes, well, that's all options. I could do all different. I've been doing different breeds of bird, so I could do different breeds of dog. That is a great idea. And I love drawing dogs and cats and horses. And I want to do a portrait of my horse. I did an acrylic painting of my horse about a month ago, but I want to do a digital one, because I think I can get more detail on a digital piece. I'm braver. On digital, I'm braver, and I don't know why. I just seem to, I have more confidence digitally. And I've drawn and painted for, how old am I? 55. For 50 years I've drawn. And I'm more confident doing this. And I've only found this in the last couple of years, and I'm so excited. So excited. I do have mugs. And I will probably pop this little guy in a mug as well, because, hello, Stitched. How are you, doll? So, yeah, I'll probably pop this little guy in a mug as well. And I can actually do phone cases. You can do anything. You can do anything on Printify, and it's connected to my my Etsy. I keep wanting to call it Witsky. What do I want to call it? I don't want to call it Etsy. It's just not happening. Okay, what am I thinking of? I don't know. I'm thinking of something else anyway. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. This was a lot of fun. I am going to go and do some housework now. Looks like Frank from Men in Black. He does look like Frank from Men in Black. Yes, he does. I like that. Thank you. But yes, I'm going to head out. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here. And I will probably be back tomorrow for another stream. No idea what I'm going to do. Any suggestions? Pop them in the chat on YouTube. That would be awesome. So any suggestions on what you want to see, and if you want to see a specific breed of dog or something like that, just pop it into chat and I'll give it a go. So thank you so much, everyone, and I'm going to say goodbye.